Why don't we rent a video tonight?
Yeah, can we please?
On a weeknight?
Yeah, come on, Mom. It's okay.
Sure. Come on. Let's throw caution to the wind.
Put a little weekend in your week. Rent a video.
Hello everybody and welcome to Vericon Video, a sometimes weekly show where we relive forgotten and unforgettable movies that once lined the shelves of video stores everywhere. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Joseph.
And we've arrived in Gotham City for its 200th anniversary birthday festival, despite it being overrun by crime boss Carl Grissom and his thugs. We're gonna have hot dogs, balloons, the whole schmear, but all that's about to change now that the clown prince of crime, the Joker, has taken over. We're gonna be dining with Bruce Wayne and talking to reporter Vicki Vale and Alexander Knox to find out if there really is a 6-foot bat in Gotham City.
Or if you can really dance with the devil in the pale moonlight.
It's Batman from 1989, so sit back, relax, and welcome to Gotham City.
This town needs an enema.
Welcome to the Cafe 80s, where it's always morning in America, even in the afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I have the only gun on board. Welcome to Con Air.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Okay, good evening, America, and welcome aboard Apollo 13.
I'm so glad you could come. This is going to be such an exciting day. I hope you're enjoying it. I think you will.
A costume vigilante known as Batman fights crime in Gotham City and finds himself facing off with a deformed madman who calls himself the Joker, who has seized control of the city's criminal underworld, all while the Caped Crusader tries to protect his true identity and his new love interest, reporter Vicki Vale. So Joseph, tell me about good old Batman from 1989.
I grew up with Batman for as long as I could remember, dressed up as Batman for Halloween more than once, and I fell in love with the Gotham world. I had on VHS the Batman that we're reviewing now, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin with George Clooney and Arnold Schwarzenegger, Batman Sub-Zero animated, and then all those Batman series with Mark Hamill as a Joker. So iconic, so good.
Oh yeah, Batman the Animated Series was fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah, and speaking of, my all-time favorite part of those series was Batman Beyond. I even have this little action figure collectible guy.
That's cute. I like that.
Yeah. Just, got it right there when I walk in the room, just like, what's up, bro? But it was my favorite growing up. And like, I always imagined myself having one of these costumes as a dad, walking around with my kid, like dressed up as Batman Beyond. Guys like Kevin Conroy and Will Friedle. They did a beautiful job with that series for, I think it was 2 years it went on. But now I watched the TV show Gotham that's on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. And, what do you think about that?
In my opinion, I know people have some false hope or just doubt in the accuracy of the film in terms of how they portray Gotham and the characters in Gotham. But personally, I think they've done a beautiful job with representing the modern world in Gotham. There hasn't really been a show that's represented how Bruce Wayne has been raised or brought up and turned into Batman.
Right. So even though we've kind of gotten glimpses of his origin story before in previous iterations of the franchise, Gotham really kind of takes a step back and slows everything down to really look at the kinds of things that culminated in shaping who Bruce Wayne would become and like what really motivated him to become Batman besides just the death of his parents.
Right. Exactly. How about you?
I watched that show for a while, and I think around the third season, something happened, and I won't say, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but something happened that really pissed me off, and I just didn't like how the series was treating one particular character, but I would like to get back to it because it's in its last season, and they're kind of already talking about how everything's going to wrap up in the end, and I don't know, I tend to go back to shows like after I know they're done.
That makes sense. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I respect that because you want to have the whole thing.
Exactly.
You don't have the part of it and be like, oh, well, what happens next?
Exactly. Like I think there's nothing worse than watching a show and it building up to some great arc or changing a big shift in the storyline, and then it gets canceled, and it's just done, and that's all you got to work with. And so that kind of thing really irritates me. Anyway, about Batman, I remember seeing this in theaters when I was 4 years old. My parents took me to see it, We had a flat on the way to the theater. We did make it in time.
Oh man.
And I don't remember this moment exactly, but I was told later that I fell asleep about halfway through the movie. And then a week later, my aunt and uncle took me to see it again, and I fell asleep again halfway through the movie. And so I had to wait until it came out on video. And I think it might have been almost a year later before it came out on VHS. And I watched it with my mom and my aunt. And by the end of the movie, like there's a line where, the Joker's taunting Batman. He's like, "Come on, you gruesome son of a bitch, come to me." And I repeated that line after the Joker said it, and my mom just slapped me on the arm or on the hand. And I didn't know. I was 5 years old. I didn't know what a gruesome son of a bitch was. I didn't know that was bad. So Batman and RoboCop got me into a lot of trouble as a kid.
Damn.
But I had all the toys, I had all the action figures. They had this Batman costume you could wear, but it was shit. Like it had the chest piece that strapped around your back. I don't even think it had a cape, strangely enough, but it had the mask. So it wasn't really a full cowl. It was just a piece of plastic with a plastic band around the back that worked like a baseball cap. I was so pissed because as a kid, you never could get a full-size mask of anything. Like even when I was in fourth grade, I wanted a Power Rangers helmet. Nope, can't do that. Can't get the full thing. The only like over the head masks that I had as a kid was Freddy and then later Darth Vader. So I got this Darth Vader helmet. I'm gonna digress for a minute because this has nothing to do with Batman, but I think it's a funny story. So I had this. I think it was $55 that I got it at this Halloween shop in the mall, and it was this really nice deluxe Don Post Darth Vader helmet. And so it had this the top helmet piece and then the face piece. Let me see how I can describe this. So you kind of have to pull the mask apart a little bit and fit it over the front of your face.
Oh, wow.
And it had a piece of Velcro on the top, right on the top of your head. And that's how the helmet piece would attach. And so the helmet looked really good, but that's all I had. And so for Halloween, I had to borrow my grandmother's like nylon or polyester overcoat and her gloves. And I had this really shitty lightsaber. That was my Darth Vader costume. And I was trick-or-treating with my youngest stepsister who was dressed as Pocahontas. So we were a very strange pair walking down the street. But the thing about this mask was that, this is Halloween, so it was cold out. And there's like a little grill in the front of the mask, where Darth Vader would speak from. You couldn't really breathe out of it very well. And so the eyepieces would fog up really easily. And so every few minutes you had to take the helmet off, rip the face part off, and then wipe the eye holes and then put everything back on. And so I had to keep doing that over the course of the night. And then this guy jumps out of the bushes with a chainsaw and starts chasing after me. And I'm running away. And the lenses are fogged up. And
you can't see where you're going.
No, and I smack right into a tree.
Oh, my God.
My family still talks about that to this day. There's a picture of this somewhere. I'll have to see if my mom can dig it up. Back to Batman. I just had to get that out of my system.
That was amazing.
So let's give you a little bit of context, a little bit of background about Batman from 1989. It was directed by Tim Burton and written by Sam Hamm and Warren Scarron. It stars Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne / Batman, alongside Jack Nicholson, Kim Basinger, Robert Wuhl, Pat Hingle, Billy D. Williams, Michael Goff, and Jack Palance. After the financial success of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Warner Brothers hired Tim Burton to direct Batman. Although Burton was hired to direct the project in 1986, the project wasn't greenlit until after Beetlejuice proved successful at the box office. And after seeing an early screening of Clean and Sober, producer John Peters was inspired to cast Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne / Batman because of his brooding, against-type performance. Like the controversial casting of Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight many years later, casting Michael Keaton caused similar backlash before the picture went into production since he had been typecast as a mostly comedic actor with a few dramatic roles under his belt. 50,000 protest letters were sent to the Warner Brothers offices around this time.
Wow.
And this is pretty funny. Adam West, who played Batman in the 1966 TV show, admitted he was a little disappointed that he was not asked to reprise his role in the movie, even though he was 61 at the time. In his 1994 autobiography, he stated that, despite belief to the contrary, he was never asked to make a cameo appearance as Bruce Wayne's father, Thomas Wayne, adding that he would have declined the role if it were offered to him.
Thanks for making the statement, buddy.
Yeah, he was notorious for always saying he is Batman. Like he is the only Batman that there ever was and will be. And I mean, I hate that he died. He was a great actor, and he played Batman up until his dying day, like in these animated things that he did with Burt Ward, who played Robin. Yeah, but I mean, he was having too much fun, I think, doing Family Guy and stuff. So
Yeah.
So a lot of different people were actually considered for the role of the Joker, such as Brad Dourif, Tim Curry, David Bowie, and John Lithgow. And Tim Burton really wanted to cast Brad Dourif, who we counted a few episodes ago as the voice of Chucky. He really wanted him as the Joker, but Warner Brothers said, no, we want somebody else. And so they approached Jack Nicholson for the role of the Joker / Jack Napier, and he turned it down many, many, many times. He finally agreed, but with some demands. He had a very strict schedule stipulated into his contract that his casting calls were to be later than most actors and actresses on the set. And he was known for having late evenings up to 3 a.m. before he would get home, so he dined out every night and attended small parties. Wow. Michael Keaton said that he would arrive early in the morning and Jack would come in around 10 o'clock at the earliest and greet Michael Keaton and then sit on his chair, and he would tilt his head back and fall asleep immediately as the makeup artists were putting on his prosthetics.
Jeez.
This is very unusual, but he received a percentage of the gross on the film instead of taking a big paycheck up front. Since it was so wildly successful, he took home around $60 million.
Isn't that what like Tom Hanks did for Forrest Gump?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah, we did talk about that a little bit, that he did take like a percentage of the gross and ended up making a lot more than really anybody else.
Right. Wow.
And even though this information's outdated, but as of 2013, it's still the single like movie record for an actor's salary.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, I've heard that Jack Nicholson has retired. I've heard that he has dementia. I've heard all kinds of different things. I'm really missing him on the screen. But he has said that playing the Joker, he said the thing he liked best about that role is his sense of humor is completely tasteless. And he said that role was one of his favorites that he played.
That's phenomenal.
I thought it was funny, too, that Jack Nicholson had admitted in an interview that he was an enormous comic book fan in the era when Batman first appeared, and that the Joker was his favorite character from the comics.
Wow.
So I wouldn't have pegged him as a comic book fan. And
no.
The same for Robin Williams. Like, he was apparently a very big comic book fan and really into video games.
Really?
Yeah, and he named his daughter Zelda.
Oh, my gosh.
So the role of Vicki Vale, played by Kim Basinger, she was the original choice to play Vicki Vale, but her agents wouldn't let the producer, John Peters, meet with her unless he made her an offer, and then she ended up getting busy. And so they cast Sean Young instead. But I think they actually started shooting with her, and she broke her collarbone while like horseback riding or something like that. So she had to drop out. And so then they're like, oh, okay, we'll just get Kim Basinger now. So they called her like a week before filming started.
Holy crap.
I think didn't we encounter that? Oh, it was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, right?
Where, same thing.
Yeah.
Mary Monsantonio.
Ah, yes. I can't remember who was originally going to play that role, but it was somebody with a little more star power, I think, than her. And lastly, the production design on this film, which is really stellar. This was done by Anton Furst, who had collaborated with the art department to mix these clashing architectural styles to make, quote, Gotham the ugliest and bleakest metropolis imaginable. He said that we imagine what New York City might have become without a planning commission, a city run by crime with a riot of architectural styles, and an essay in ugliness, as if hell erupted through the pavement and kept on going.
Holy shit.
I know
it did look like it. It did.
I mean, I know he's an art director, so he's an artist, but that's a very kind of deep and philosophical, esoteric way of describing his creative choices there.
Yes. Was it ever daylight in this movie?
Yes. Well,
yes.
Okay. Well, it was overcast.
Overcast. Okay.
Yeah. So anytime when they're outside, it's definitely overcast.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So the sun never shines.
Sun never shines. It's like Sleepy Hollow. So
it's like Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah. And Tim Burton again. You know.
Tim Burton, what a guy.
It always looks like it's like 6 o'clock in the evening, just as the sun's about to go down, like it's about to start raining at any time. Beautiful day here in Gotham City. Now, to me, like I see a lot of nods to Fritz Lang's Metropolis in this, but also Terry Gilliam's Brazil, which was a film that Burton and Furst often studied as a reference in the production design. And Furst and Peter Young, who was, I think, an art director or another production designer, they would take home the Academy Award for Best Art Direction that year.
Wow.
And something I think that's interesting about this film is like the anachronistic design. So it looks very like 1930s most of the time. So everybody's wearing a fedora and a trench coat. But then you've got these modern cars driving around, and you see some people carrying boom boxes and, these newer cameras. And so it's this weird kind of reimagining of kind of neo-noir.
Yeah.
I can't really find the term I'm looking for. But
it's a decade mix.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like it exists in its own time.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
We've got some Prince in here, we're rocking to some Prince. He did the entire soundtrack for the movie.
Oh my goodness.
And which we'll talk about later, but
if we saw some like Purple Rain towards the end of this movie, then I would have been like, whoa.
Yeah, have that as the end credits.
Yeah.
Nothing meant to cause you any sorrow. Nothing meant to cause you any pain. Get that little delay.
Yeah.
I know. Whenever I hear that song, the delay cracks me up every time. I don't know, but I love that song. I love the guitar in it.
Oh yeah.
Are you ready to take a stroll through Gotham City?
I'm ready to go fight some crime. Let's do this thing.
Let's do it.
And now our feature presentation.
So we open on this pretty amazing main title sequence. We're kind of floating through the structure. We don't really know what it is at first. We're going around these little turns and bends. It's this very dark and stark, very bluish hue, and we've got these bright yellow titles. As the titles kind of wrap up, we see that it's of the bat symbol.
Right.
That's what we've been moving through. So in a way, it's this is all, Tim Burton had done this just previously in Beetlejuice, as the camera is moving through this model of this little town, and then ultimately ending up on the Maitland house. And so he's doing that same kind of thing, but just in a much more stylized sort of way. Let's just go ahead and talk about this here, Joseph. What do you think about this score?
Number one, iconic as fuck. Let's get that out of the way here. Animated foreshadowing with the whole Batman animated series and the same kind of style of music, the theme, beauty, power, and suspense. Those three words. Danny Elfman is the man, the myth, and the legend, and everything that he has done for this franchise. And just hearing that music at the beginning of this movie, like you're shifting through these curves and edges and in this structure of a bat symbol, and you're like, what the hell is this? And you get to the bat symbol, and then the brass just opens up and you just feel it. And I think later on in the Dark Knight series, Hans Zimmer did a very brilliant job with the same kind of structure in brass. I saw this little clip snippet on YouTube on how he did that. Just the same concept. And Danny Elfman, kudos to him for this.
This is not only my favorite Elfman score, but my favorite score of all time. Like
Right.
and it's not just for nostalgic value. Like it really, to me, it's so dynamic and it has so much variation, but it stays very much within the same framework.
Right.
And so it feels very, not contained, but consistent. There's a continuity there that I think is what really makes it stand on its own, not just as a supplement to help tell the story, the visual story, but like it works so well as an orchestral piece all its own.
It makes you think of Gotham. Like you hear that music and it's like, oh, that's Batman. Oh, that's Gotham City. It really puts you into the heart of that city. It's beautiful.
It is, absolutely. And it also, it has that same whimsical quality, like kind of under the surface. Like it has a very, not really traditional, but a very classical like approach to the score. But it has that whimsy or kind of playfulness that Tim Burton is known for. And that
Right.
Danny Elfman was previously known for with Pee-wee's Big Adventure and even when he was in the band Oingo Boingo. I don't know. I think it's just it was really fresh at the time, and then everybody tried to emulate it in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, if you want to track down a really great version of this soundtrack, head over to lalalandrecords.com. This is not an ad, but they have a 2-disc set. That one is the mix that was released commercially, and then they have one that it's actually the theatrical mix. So what you're hearing is exactly how you would have heard it on the big screen. And so it's has a very airy kind of sense about it. Like it feels like you're right there sitting in the orchestra.
Wow.
It's a much more powerful, I can't really describe it, but of note, if you can find it, in the Batman March, like the main title, there's this bass note that you don't hear on the commercial mix, but you hear it in this version, and it just cuts through you. Like it makes your stomach vibrate.
Oh my gosh.
It's great. I'll have to send it to you.
Please do.
Yeah,
Holy crap.
It's pretty impressive. So yeah, go check that out. You won't regret it. There's also some cues on there that didn't make it into the final film. Everybody in a loud car is driving by today.
Good old Greenville.
I know. And so we got a title card, Gotham City. We have this tourist family. They're trying to find a taxi, and the father's yelling at his son because he's got this map of the city out. He's like, Jimmy, put that away. We look like tourists. And we got this prostitute coming up. Hi, honey. She's pulling them away. And for some reason, they go into a dark alley. Like they're looking for a taxi. No, okay. So we didn't get a taxi. Let's just go into this dark alley. and they're immediately accosted by this guy. He's like, hey, man, how about a $1? What's the matter? You deaf? You don't speak English? Immediately, this other guy comes out and knocks the father out with his pistol and then points it at the mom and the son. Hey, lady, do the kid a favor. Don't scream. And he runs off and the guy takes his wallet, the father's wallet. And what does she do?
Yeah, she screams.
Yeah, it's just the awfulest scream. And then we get this high up shot looking down of like the shadow of Batman looking over the rooftop. This is animated.
Yeah.
It doesn't look very good, but I guess I don't know, maybe they just couldn't get the cape to flow right. And so we just see the shadow very casually walks off. You'd think that if you see somebody in trouble that he would probably
goes after him.
Go after him immediately. He does kind of take his time in this movie.
He does. We're gonna talk about that a little later too.
Yeah, and sometimes he just waits for people to get killed,
right? Just to get there.
To react. Yeah, and we'll get there in just a minute when we get to the Axis Chemical Factory. So these two thugs, they're hanging out and they're going through the take. They're going through this guy's wallet. One finds an American Express card. Don't leave home without it. And so they make that little joke. And the kind of wiry guy, he's a little skittish, and he's like, hey, I heard about this human bat and this guy, Johnny Gobb, took a walk off a roof and there was no blood. Oh man, there ain't no bat. So he just tells him to shut up. And meanwhile, we see Batman float down in the background. And he's just waiting to sneak up on him, I guess. But he doesn't even sneak up on him. He waits for them to turn around, and he's like, "Oh, look at me, I'm fabulous." And he lifts up his arms. Yeah. It's a slow-mo shot, which is good. But then they freak out and they shoot him. And he falls down and he gets back up. He kicks one guy through a door and the other guy runs off and he takes his batarang out and lassos him by the ankle and he's pulling him towards him. Picks the guy up and he's hanging him off of a roof. And he's like, hey, man, don't kill me, man. Don't kill me, man. I'm not going to kill you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me. Who are you? I'm Batman. Just throws the guy and then jumps off the roof. But I'd read somewhere that Bruce Wayne, that Michael Keaton actually improv the I'm Batman part, which is kind of surprising, but apparently the line was I am the Knight or something like that, and he just was like, I'll just say I'm Batman, which makes much more sense.
I don't know that scene.
Yeah. It's a great scene.
Oh man,
Michael Keaton actually he did the commencement at Kent State, I think last year. And he gave this really great speech. And at the end, he ended with I'm Batman.
Oh, that's lit.
And everybody lost their shit. Like they went wild. It was fantastic. And so anyway, we go into this press conference with the mayor and we meet Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent.
Shout out Star Wars, Lando. What a guy. Still has that same voice. And it just brings you back. I heard him on a podcast, Star Wars podcast the other day, and he was talking with the guys, and it was about the Solo movie that came out last year.
Oh,
and he was just like ranting about it and talking good stuff about it, and just hearing his voice, I'm like, dude, you have not lost your touch, bro.
He does have this kind of charisma and swagger to him.
He really does.
So I think even playing Lando was like he was just playing himself. Because he's essentially the same guy in this movie.
I mean, it's a gift to have natural swagger. Some people have it, some people don't. And I sure as hell don't.
Same. It's like you have it or you don't. It's not something you can learn.
Right.
Somebody else who has some swagger in this movie is Jack Nicholson as Jack Napier. We come upon him as he's watching the press conference, and Billy D. Williams is talking as Harvey Dent, and he's talking about they're going to crack down on crime. And Jack Napier, he's just sitting there playing with his playing card deck, and his lover, Alicia, is coming up to him. And we hear Billy D. Williams, he's like, we're going to knock down their doors and shed the light of the law on that nest of vipers.
Okay, dude.
A nest of vipers.
Nest of vipers.
We've talked previously in episodes about like misheard dialogue and not understanding what people are saying. I don't like the Robin Hood fuck me, he cleared it thing.
Yeah.
Like I watched the movie this morning with subtitles, and there were still lines that I just found out this morning what people were saying. And I didn't make note of it because I was like, I'm going to be too embarrassed to admit that on the podcast. But in particular, like when he was talking about that nest of vipers, and I was like, what's a vipers? What is that?
And ladies and gentlemen, that's VIPAHS, not VIPERS, just for clarification on the correct pronunciation of grammar.
Exactly. It's vipers. It sounds almost like Christopher Walken or something.
Vipers full of diapers.
And so Dent is saying that we want to make the city better for decent people, and Jack's like, decent people shouldn't live here. They'd be happier someplace else. And his little lover is like, pretty tough talk about Carl. Meaning Carl Grissom, who's the crime boss. He's like, don't worry about it. If this guy could touch Grissom, I'd have handed him his lungs by now. It's like, what is that? I'd have handed him his lungs by now. And so we find out in conversation that he's having an affair with his boss's lover, or whoever she is. We just know that she's with this really old guy. But Jack is really confident. She says, if Grissom knew about us, he might hand you something. He's like, don't flatter yourself, Angel. He's a tired old man. He can't run the city without me. And besides, he doesn't know. He just gives that eyebrows that are like on top of his head, and they raise so high, and his eyes are just half lidded. Just classic Jack.
What a man.
So confident. And he's like looking at himself in the mirror, adjusting his coat. And she's like, oh, you look fine. And he just turns back annoyed. It's like, I didn't ask. And her hand is on his shoulder, and he just like looks at it
off.
Yeah, like, get that hand off of me. He's such a narcissist. I didn't ask.
Jeez.
And so we go back to those thugs from earlier. They're being taken away on a stretcher, and we meet Lieutenant Eckhart, who's he's investigating the whole Batman thing. We meet journalist Alexander Knox, played by Robert Wool, and Eckhart's already annoyed. He's like, oh, Christ, Knox. He's like, hello, Lieutenant Eckhart. I heard there was another bat attack. That's 8 sightings now in just under a month. And he's getting his tape recorder out. He's ready to go. And he's like, sorry, Knox. These two slipped on a banana peel. You hear that guy. He's like, I'm telling you, man, a giant bat. It's just like, don't be writing this stuff in your newspaper, Knox. And so, Knox just wants a comment, and he leaves him. Eckhart goes into this alley where he runs into Jack Napier and his little sidekick, Bob, who's credited as Bob the Goon.
Yeah, Bob. Yeah, just good old Bob.
And there's a little shady deal going down. Jack tells him that Harvey Dent's been snooping around in one of their front companies and gives him some bribe money and says, if there's a problem, I'll deal with it. And Jack's like, oh, well, your problems are our problems. And it's like, well, I answer to Grissom, not to you. You think you run the show, but you ain't got no future, Jack. You're an 8-1 nut boy. And Grissom knows it. And Jack gets pissed off and pushes him away. And then Bob comes out with his little gun. Better be sure. Eckhart lowers his gun. Jack's like, see, you can make a good decision when you try. And he just starts laughing as he walks away. And this big guy, this big Eckhart, he's just like, where have you been spending your nights? And we get this little moment with the mayor and Harvey Dent and Commissioner Gordon. And they're trying to get the whole movie, like they're trying to get this festival going. They really feel like that this is what is this is going to be a major move on their part to get people back into the city and get the businesses back there, because everybody's scared because of the criminal element there. And the mayor's like, hey, they won't be scared once you get Grissom into that courthouse, that he promised that in his campaign. And so there's a lot of pressure there. Meanwhile, Knox he goes into the newspaper office and he meets a pair of legs. It's Vicki Vale, and played by Kim Basinger. And he's, oh yeah, I recognize you. Yeah, you're Vicki Vale, Vogue photographer. worked for Cosmo. Yeah. And oh, if you want me to pose nude, you're going to need a long lens.
Okay.
Which I totally never caught when I was a kid. I was like, oh, what does that mean? Need a long lens? How do you care, Knox? And
it's just a damn photo. Like,
it's just a damn photo. Now, Vale, she confesses that she is in Gotham City because she has a thing for bats. She's hot for bats. And this whole Batman thing's really gotten her all worked up. And so she comes to Knox with a deal and says, let's work together. You know, my pictures, your words, Pulitzer Prize material. Just think. Knox says, hey, well, this is the problem. I know Gordon's got a file on this, but I can't even get him on the phone. And she says, oh, well, Bruce Wayne's having this benefit tonight. And he's, oh, well, how the hell are we going to get in there? And she produces these tickets. And he just isn't, he's, oh, Vale, will you marry me?
Basically, yeah.
And they take off. We get this great shot of outside this massive, massive office building. And it's just a model, but it looks fantastic. So we pan up with it. We're in Grissom's office. And Carl Grissom is played by the great Jack Palance. We find that Harvey Dent has made a connection to his crime syndicate through this company called Axis Chemicals, and they need to remove some incriminating stuff from an office there. And he tells Jack Napier, I'd like you to handle this operation personally. And he looks a little surprised.
Yeah, he does.
It's like, me? The elevator door opens, and this sexy woman walks out. It's the woman that Jack was with moments ago. Carl Grissom's like, hello, sweetheart. I wonder if you'd mind waiting in the next room. And she walks back with her shopping and gives Jack a look, and he gives her a look. And then Grissom's looking at them like, yeah, I see they're having a look. And so we know that he knows that there's something going on between the two of them. Jack is saying, hey, you know, Carl, can you get somebody else to do this? You know, the fumes in that place. And he's like, oh, Jack, it's an important job I need for someone I can trust. You are my number one guy. And he shakes him. And so he sends him away. And then he picks up the phone and immediately calls the police department and asks for Lieutenant Eckhart. And I mean, this office that he's in is beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's ridiculous.
Massive windows, these big statues outside, this massive desk. The whole set it's a beautiful piece. So then we move along to this benefit/fundraiser at Wayne Manor. We get some more Prince music popping in the background. Then we're introduced to Alfred Pennyworth, the butler to Bruce Wayne. And Knox sees him passing by with a tray of champagne flutes. And Knox grabs one and then tips him. He drops $1 on his little tray. Yeah. And Alfred picks it up and he just like, oh, what is this? So he walks away. And this is Michael Goff that we saw several episodes ago in Sleepy Hollow. And Tim Burton has worked with him before. He was a big fan of various horror films that Michael Goff was in back in the 70s.
He played a lot of Alfred in these movies.
Yes. All right. So he played Alfred in the first iteration of this franchise. So in Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. Mm-hmm. And then I think that was it. I guess he was the only, well, no, actually Pat Hingle, who played Commissioner Gordon, he was in all four of those, I think.
Yes. Cause like, he did play his voice. It says here 2005 in Corpse Bride.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, he did have a tiny part in that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's had a very well written acting career. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And so Vicki Vale, she taps on this guy's shoulder, and do you know if any of these guys are Bruce Wayne? It's like, oh, well, I'm not sure. And of course, it's Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne. And so she's like, oh, well, thanks anyway. So she goes away. I don't know why he was it like, I'm Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he's so taken with her. Like as soon as as she walks away, he can't take his eyes off of her.
Just go after her, dude. You know?
Yeah. And he's, again, just taking his ever-loving time. He's trying to find a place to put this pen and this champagne flute, and Alfred's behind him, like picking up after him.
Yeah, he puts a pen in the bush.
Yeah, there's like a little bush or something. He just like stabs it in there, and he puts that champagne flute on the edge of like a pool table or a craps table or something, and Alfred like swoops in and gets it before it falls off. So he's doing all that stuff. So there's some good humorous moments in this movie. It's not all all the laughs don't belong to the Joker. Like,
Right. There's some nice subtle points.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So we see the Commissioner Gordon is playing craps with the mayor and Harvey Dent. Knox he's still trying to get a quote. Gordon is pulled away, and an officer tells Gordon that they got an anonymous tip that Napier was cleaning out Axis chemicals. And he's like, oh my God. He tells him that, so I was not told about this. Who was in charge? Eckhart, sir. Oh my God. All right, let's go. So they take off. Knox and Vale, they're just wandering around Wayne Manor looking for Gordon. And they stumble into this great hall that's full of all of these ancient weapons and arsenal and this armor room, just marveling at all this stuff that they feel like why would anyone have this stuff? Because I think Knox even makes the comment that the more they got, the less they're worth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they're just making fun of all this stuff and making fun of Bruce Wayne. And Bruce Wayne is trailing behind them, unbeknownst to them. And they come to this last piece. It's like, oh, I wonder where this is from. And Bruce Wayne's like, it's Japanese. How do you know? Because I bought it in Japan. Who are you?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Bruce Wayne.
I mean, I don't think that's where you get it. If it's Japanese, you buy it in Japan, that doesn't make sense.
Come on, Knox, get with the program.
Yeah,
and
really.
I'm really surprised that he didn't recognize him. I mean, as a reporter, at the Gotham
you should know
Globe,
people.
You should know people, especially the richest person in the city. You
Yeah.
should know what he looks
Come
like.
on.
So
Or the house that you're in. Who does it belong to?
Exactly. Yeah. If he said, I bought it in Japan and you're in his house, you should assume that is Bruce Wayne, that's his thing. That's his house. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Knox.
jeez.
And so Knox is playing it off. Wayne says, oh yeah, I read your work. I like it a lot. And he's, oh, thanks. Well, can I have a grant? He just kind of gives this little laugh. And then he starts talking to Vicki Vale, and she says, oh, your house, it's so beautiful. I'd like to shoot it sometime. As a kid, I never understood this. I was like, what do you mean you'd like to shoot it sometime? In my
pow.
Exactly. In my mind, I had this image of her like bringing a big gun to Wayne Manor and to blow it to bits. I'd love to shoot it sometime. And he's like, oh yeah, well of course. And so, oh yeah, photographer. Gotcha.
Right. Like, Bruce, why would you want your own house blown up? Like, no.
I mean, she's pretty enough. I'm sure you wouldn't mind. He could afford a renovation.
Yeah, true. Sure. I mean,
so Alfred comes in and says, oh, Commissioner Gordon was compelled to leave. Bruce Wayne's like, oh, okay. So, very unexpectedly, sir. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll see you later. So he takes off. So it's kind of a running gag throughout the whole series when Alfred's trying to be subtle about Batman is needed somewhere. He just kind of has to get really explicit about it.
Right.
I think it was in Batman Forever when Robin or Dick Grayson is staying with Bruce Wayne, and he has shown him all of these classic cars that he owned. And while Bruce is away, he gets a call from Alfred, and it's like, oh, young Master Grayson has taken one of the cars. It's like, oh, was it the Jag? It's like, no, sir, the other car. The Bentley? No, sir, the other car. It's like, come on.
You dipshit.
So Bruce Wayne, we find him in this control center or something. So he's got this array of monitors around him and all these security cameras. And so he's reviewing the footage of the conversation between Gordon and Albert, who was the officer that was talking to him. So he knows that something's going down in Axis Chemicals, and he takes his glasses off really dramatically. He's pondering. He doesn't take off. He doesn't just go.
He just sits there.
He's going to sit there and just think about it.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Like everybody else would, just we all want to think about something before something bad happens. We don't want to jump out of our chair and go rush it.
Right.
We want to sit and think about it.
We don't want to jump to conclusions. We want to think it through first.
Let people get in a disarray, let the damsel in distress happen, then jump into action.
Even in the 60s TV show, whenever something was wrong, they were off. I mean, even in Batman Returns at the very beginning, when the first bat signal is shown, he's brooding in this chair in this big study, and then he sees the light of the bat signal, and he just stands up and walks towards it very slowly and stands there for another 20 or 30 seconds. Like, come on, move your ass, man.
You see the signal. That's your sign. It's not a
Get a move
cue to
on.
stand up. It's not a cue to stand up and just look at it.
It's like, don't think. I mean, if you've ever seen a firefighter in action, like they go split second,
berserk.
they're gone. They're gone.
Yeah.
They're dressed before you can. If you blink, like they're already in the fire truck. They're gone.
I bet you that the time it takes Batman to get in his Batmobile to go to where he needs to go, I'm already out of this house to my car and to the class I need to go to in the morning.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So as a student, like you're trying to get to class on time, like you know how to hustle.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because he's got money.
He's got money. He can do whatever he wants.
He can do what he wants.
I mean, damn, he's got the most gorgeous girl in the world already. So
yeah, and so really, like some days he can just be like, I'm not gonna be Batman today. I don't really feel like it. I was
all
Batman.
hell crime in Gotham.
I was Batman 3 times this week. I wouldn't take the day off. And so we're at Axis Chemicals. Eckhart is distributing mugshot of Jack Napier and tells him to shoot to kill. And so that they're moving in. Meanwhile, Napier and Grissom's gangsters are breaking into this safe in Axis Chemicals. And when they open it, there's nothing in there. And immediately Jack knows, hey, we've been ratted out, so watch it. And this is one of my favorite pieces of music from the score. It's a good piece of music, and this set here, this is at Pinewood Studios in England. And it's actually a location that was used from the set of Aliens, if I remember that correctly.
Oh, wow.
And so some people said it's a stage, or it's an existing location. I can't remember which one is true, but they said that they actually found like the aliens' nests and eggs still intact, like when they got to the set. Yeah. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. And you can, the atmosphere is very much the same. So Gordon in the police center, he's still wearing his black tie and tux, and Eckhart's there with his bullhorn, and he's been found out. So Gordon knows that he's in bed with Grissom, takes a bullhorn, and says to take Jack Napier alive. And so Eckhart kind of scuttles away. Meanwhile, Jack is sabotaging all the controls. There's a shootout. Batman swoops in to save the day. He's taking care of business. And we get another great, oh my God.
Yeah.
From Gordon. And so eventually, Jack is about to shoot.
He's about to shoot Eckhart.
And then Batman knocks the gun out of his hand.
He does shoot Eckhart.
He does shoot him.
But this is all while Bob is threatening Gordon.
Right. There's a moment where he knocks the gun out of his hand and he picks him up. And he's like, Jesus.
Right.
Yeah. And then Bob's down there with a gun to Gordon's head. Like, let him go or I'll do Gordon.
Yep.
And so Batman sits him down and Jack just shrugs it off. Nice outfit. And Batman smiles the only time in this entire franchise, I think.
I think so.
Just a little smile. And so Eckhart is killed. Jack tries to shoot Batman, and Batman puts his gauntlet up, his arm up, and the bullet ricochets and hits this large gauge, and the glass bursts out and it cuts Jack on the face. We don't really get to see much of it, which I kind of like. But he puts his hands on his face and he falls over the side. And Batman grabs him, and as he's hanging off, he's trying to hold on to him.
Right.
And he's hanging over this vat of chemicals.
I thought Batman had really good grip on him. I'm confused, like how he fell in the first place. If he had such a good grip on Batman, it just slipped.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we can read this one of two ways. It's either, yes, he just lost the grip. He just slipped down, or because he does look like he's struggling to hold on
right
to Jack Napier. But we could speculate that he does recognize him in some way as the man who killed his parents.
And
he just doesn't quite put it together yet. And he intentionally
drops him.
Yeah. Kind of wriggles free.
I like that.
It's a possibility. Well, when he does find out that his parents were murdered by Jack Napier, it is kind of like this great revelation to him. Like, what? But there could be some, I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much, but
I think we could say that there's a mix between all this stuff with losing grip.
Yeah, or that he's just a pretty nasty criminal, and got to take him out.
Someone's got to be punished,
Because like RoboCop that we talked about in our Patreon exclusive episode. If you are not a patron of ours, be sure to go over to patreon.com/Farrakhan video and give that a listen. But he is not interested in taking anybody in,
at all.
But he's not connected to the police force. He's a vigilante, so he can do whatever he wants.
Right.
So Jack falls into this vat of chemicals, and Batman's cornered. He uses his grappling hook to escape. And I mean, when we see that pool of chemicals, like kind of I guess it's where it runs off into this sewer or something, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a sewer.
Yeah. And we see the hand emerge, and then so we know that that's Jack. And
The hand.
And
with some cards.
With some cards. And now I never knew that was cards floating around his hand. Because I guess maybe on VHS it was just a really poor transfer or something. Like it looked like little 3.5 floppy disks or something. I was like, what is that? But of course you watch it on Blu-ray, you're like, oh, okay, well now I can tell that it's playing cards. So Knox and Vale, they can't really figure out what Batman's doing, like if he has a flight pattern or a certain, MO. But she's just kind of like, oh, well, I've got a date with Bruce Wayne, so see ya. Bye, Knox.
Yeah. Peace.
And Knox, the whole time he's like trying to get with her, and he's like,
right.
Oh, the guy's just stiff. He's a rich stiff, but you can do much better.
The woman's priorities.
I know. Jeez. And so she's at Wayne Manor, and they're having dinner at this table that is bigger than any house I've lived in. It's super long. It could probably seat 30 people.
Almost like Prince could give out his songs from that table with some delay, I'm here. Time to eat.
Right, because they can't hear each other.
They can't hear each other.
So like eating soup or like broth or something. I don't know what they're eating. He's like, how's the soup? What? The soup? How is it? It's fine. Can you pass the salt?
Like,
sure. And he has
a man.
He's got quite a little haul to take care of the salt.
Yeah.
And she's pretty cool. She's just like, do you like eating in here? He said, oh, yeah. Actually, come to think of it, I've never been in this room before. And she's amused. And so he kind of takes the hint. He's like, oh, you want to get out of here? And so they finish dinner in the kitchen, all while Alfred is telling embarrassing stories about Bruce Wayne as a kid. And so he decides to retire for the night, and they sit around and talk some more, and Vale's going on and on about her grandfather, which bored the shit out of me. I didn't
understand.
It just,
I was like,
so
that's
reminds
nice.
me. Yeah. Oh, he reminds me a lot of my grandfather. We used to go hiking or whatever the fuck, I just didn't care at all. And so we learned that Alfred pretty much is his family.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut away, and we're in this back alley surgery place.
Sketchy as fuck.
It's very sketchy because we see the alley and then this sign that says surgery on it. Like, why would you ever go anywhere like this to get surgery done?
Surgery, like maybe the healthcare was bad, and people were like, "Oh well, if I could get a discount over in this back alley sketch fuck, then maybe I can."
It's for the very frugal. It's like people go into like the Philippines or something to get dental work done or something.
Yeah.
To save some money, or going to Mexico.
Unsanitary levels 101, people. Don't try it.
Don't try it, especially this place with this guy's surgical tools. We see this silhouette, and the guy is unwrapping this face. He's, oh, let's see how we did. Yeah. And the guy gets impatient. I mean, we know it's Jack Napier, and he rips the bandages off. He's so impatient. He asks for a mirror, and he looks at himself, and you can hear, we just see his back. And it's really, really dark. And the music changes here. Like it's really emotional and sad when he realizes what he looks like now. And the surgeon, if we want to call him that, says, you must understand that the nerves were completely severed, Mr. Napier. And he just, he breaks the mirror. Scott, you see what I have to work with here. He starts that maniacal laughter.
Right. What do you think of his laughter?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, we could compare Joker laughs all day long, but I think that his is really quite extraordinary because it manifests in such different ways, I guess. Like he has a he, or just the ha ha ha, or the hoo hoo. He's just like, woo hoo hoo hoo. He just, it's varied, I guess.
Right.
And so I like that he kind of changes it up depending on the mood that he's in.
Yeah, I agree. I think between him, Mark Hamill, and Heath Ledger, they had the best, in my opinion, in terms of natural laugh. You know, it's not forced.
It doesn't feel like that the actor is going through or is taking extra effort into selling the laugh. You know, it's like you said, it's not forced, it's not fake. It's totally like genuine for the character.
Right. That's what you want.
And good old Mark Hamill's Joker is so great too. I mean,
my gosh,
I'd say it's my second favorite, or I'll just put them side by side.
Yeah,
as really great, respective
so
Jokers. Good. I really like him in Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, yeah,
it's really good. Did you ever see that one?
I did.
You did?
Oh,
I think it was the only animated one to actually be theatrically released, but that's one I need to see again. It's fantastic. It's such a great story. So Napier leaves, and these surgical tools that we see to reconstruct, I guess, the Joker's face, these props they're the dental tools used by Steve Martin on Bill Murray in Little Shop of Horrors, the 1986 one, which I thought was kind of funny because these are really gnarly looking tools. They look like torture devices. Bruce Wayne and Vicki Vale, they're on the stairs. They're drunk, or she's drunk rather, and she loses a shoe. The first of many to come, folks.
Yes, multiple.
There's at least 3 times that she loses a shoe.
Jeez.
And so they start making out. We cut away, and then we see Carl Grissom coming out of his bathroom in a robe, steamy, toweling his hair. As he goes over to his desk to pour himself a drink, we hear the elevator come up in his office, and I love the sound of this elevator. It's a very unique sound.
Yes,
it's I think it must be just a Warner Brothers sound because it's the same sound effect in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, like that cage elevator. It's makes that little cool sound. But anyway, so this silhouetted figure steps out. Carl Grissom spins around, delighted. He's like, "Is that you, Sugar Bumps?" Who the hell are you? It's me, Sugar Bumps. He's like, "Oh, Jack, I thank God. I heard you were dead." And Jack's like, "Oh, you set me up over a woman. You must be insane." And so
a woman.
Yeah, I love that, and I love too that like the way it's lit and the way the color grading is, like you can just barely make out detail on his face. So you can see his expression, but you can't really see how he's changed. Right. So I like that big reveal when he steps into the light. Grissom's like, "Hey, maybe we can cut a deal." And he's off. Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker.
Bah, there he is. It's
and as
so
you can
good.
see, I'm a lot happier. And in this shot, if you look really closely, you can see this purple stain on his neck, on Nicholson's neck. And I always wondered about this. And I don't know if this is true. This is what I read, but it was like his white face paint had rubbed off on the collar of his coat, and the makeup people, like they couldn't get it out or something. And so they just covered it up with paint or like purple shoe polish or something. And so that just had rubbed off on his neck. And so that's what you see. It looks like a bruise or something. But yeah, that's how the story goes.
Oh my gosh.
And you'd made a note about the music here.
Yes. So as he's shooting Grissom up to fucking pieces, we see that as he's shooting, there's this carnival atmosphere. And I really like it because carnival is all about fun and games. And so the Joker is very much the same way with fun and games, and how he's living up this violence into a very arcade type of atmosphere, just shooting him up.
That's a good point. I'd never really thought about that angle because, I mean, he's a clown, essentially. Right. So he is very much a very theatrical persona. Yeah, and the music, it has that cue from Waltz to the Death that we hear later on whenever he's dancing with Vicki Vale during the climax. And it does have that carnival circus, like calliope sound. Mm-hmm. And as you said, yeah, he's kind of shooting him up like he's at a firing range at the like carnival.
At different angles, behind the back.
Yeah, over the shoulder.
Over the shoulder.
Yeah, I love that he just throws his arms up and flings his hat. He's like, "Oh, what a day." Now that scene, whenever Grissom was coming out of the bathroom, apparently Tim Burton had a hard time shooting that scene because, as the story goes, whenever he would call out action, Jack Palance wouldn't come out. And so he's like, okay, cut. And he'd be like, "Okay, Jack, we're ready." I said, when I say action, just come out, okay? Just come out of the bathroom. and he discovered that Jack Palance had a hearing problem. He was a bit irritated with Tim Burton. He's like, I've made more than 100 films. How many have you made?
Oh my God.
And so he was a little agitated about that whole thing. But yeah, apparently they did that several times, and he never came out after they called action. So Vale, she wakes up. She's been sleeping with Bruce Wayne. Later, she wakes up again and sees him. He's hanging upside down from the ankles on this swing. Back and forth, and he's got his arms like folded and tucked like a bat.
If you're Batman, I guess that's what you do.
I guess it just seemed a bit much for me. That was probably the most ridiculous thing in this movie for me.
Wouldn't all your blood just go right to the brain? And
yeah,
wouldn't that hurt?
Yeah, when you just pass out.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah. He's like, oh, Vicki, wait till you see the sex swing we got and the bat cave. Where I keep all the other women I've slept with one time and had soup with, salty soup. And so, I got to hear about their grandfathers too.
Oh God.
Jeez. All right, so the Joker is reclining back in Carl Grissom's seat. He's looking down at the newspaper that is talking about Batman. He's just like, oh, wait till they get a load of me. There's this little
right. What is that about? I was wondering what was that about? Like is there any significance behind his like sound effects that he makes?
He does a lot of shit in this movie that makes zero sense. It makes no sense at all. Like there are a few moments that we both noted that we had to look it up, and nobody knows what it means.
Nobody knows what it means.
Yeah. So I think that Tim Burton just let him do whatever he wanted.
I like it. It really creates the character.
It does, yeah. I mean, it shows you just how unstable and out there he is. We're back with Vale and Bruce Wayne, and he wakes up, and she's like, oh, let's go to lunch. Let's go to dinner. Oh, you want to hang out with me? Let's do this. I want to show you this and that. He said, oh, no, I can't. I got a meeting today. Then, we're going out of town. And so he's just blowing her off.
Right.
I don't think he even realizes that it's sending the wrong message that, hey, okay, this was a one-night stand. When are you going to leave?
Right.
And so she's like, okay, well, we'll do it when you get back, from out of town. And so she kisses him goodbye. She leaves. And as she's going down the stairs, she runs into Alfred. And she's like, oh, well, I guess I'll see you guys when you get back. He's going, get back, Miss Vale. We're going to be here for quite a while.
Oh, and the look on her face is priceless.
Oh. So she's totally hurt. Like, she just knows that, okay, well, I guess he didn't really like me that much.
Yeah, jeez.
These scenes are really, really short, I'm noticing.
Yes.
Like, they're very, it's very tightly edited. We get this little moment with the Joker, or Sugar Bubs, whatever her real name is. Oh, it's Alicia, yeah.
Alicia.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And so she comes in carrying some shopping. She's always carrying in some shopping. We hear, honey, you'll never believe what happened to me today. She sees the Joker, and he's got like a martini sitting on the couch. And he's got this goofy hat.
Yeah.
Her eyes roll back in her head, and she just collapses. And the sound she makes when she hits the floor still cracks me up.
You can just see it all happening. Like her head hitting the floor, like everything.
Yeah, you see all that. It sounds like a bowling ball hitting the floor.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, and laughs and takes a drink. And then we're at this meeting with these Gotham City mobsters. It's the Joker at the head of the table saying, Grissom's gone. I'm in charge now. And I say with this anniversary festival, we run the city into the ground. And this guy asks him, he's like, what's with that stupid grin?
Right.
And we see him, and he's all in his purple getup with an orange shirt and blue tie. He doesn't have the white skin. He's put on this peach makeup. It looks really funny.
It is. Yeah, it does.
And he's got that permanent grin too. It's really unnerving. Life's been good to me. That one guy is kind of challenging him. He's like, oh, well, what if we say no? He's like, oh, well, the Joker says, nobody wants a war. So if we can't do business, why, let's just shake hands and that'll be it. And so the guy goes in for the handshake, and he's electrocuted immediately. And this is
love the effects.
I love the effects too. It's, their hands just start smoking. And the Joker's having a great time. It's like, oh, we got a live one here.
Yeah.
And he's just starts singing, oh, there'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. He's just hooting and hollering. And this guy, Rotelli, I guess is his name, he's just burnt to a crisp. He's just skeletal and blackened. And the Joker's guys burst in. And at this point, they're all like, they're all wearing matching bomber jackets with the Joker's face on the side. And so I guess in the meantime, he was able to
develop these whole streamline of
this like branding.
jackets.
Yeah, this branding. My guys are going to wear purple bomber jackets, and the cars are going to have green hoods, and the bodies are going to be purple, and I'm going to have my face on the side. It's just a lot. It's a lot of work.
I want this pistol extra long. Don't make it too long, but extra long.
It's got a telescope. It's got a telescope by the barrel.
Yep. I want some balloons too. Make sure they're 5, maybe 6, but I want them as corny as fucking possible.
There's a lot of like really specialized, custom made stuff that he's got.
Yes. Yes.
You think darkness is your ally?
Oh, God.
I was born in it, molded by it.
Honestly, okay. If we need to do that movie. We need.
I wondered what would break first, your spirit or your body. Hey, all you need is a styrofoam cup.
That's all you need, literally.
When you run out of coffee, you can have a lot of fun. But bad for the environment.
Yeah.
So where the hell are we?
That movie. We're quitting so many movies right now.
I know.
Oh.
So Joker's guys, they rush out the mobsters, and the Joker sends Bob to see what he knows about Batman. Take your camera, and he sends him away. And he even does the thing to Bob that Grissom done to him. And remember, you are my number one. God.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, there's some breathing problems there, but at this, I mean, hey, go for it. Like, really live it up,
And so Bob goes away, and the Joker goes over to Rotelli's corpse. It's still smoking, and he's like, "Oh, your pals, they're not bad people. Maybe we ought to give them a couple of days to think it over." No. And so he's like the corpse is talking to him, and he's reacting like he's shocked. Grease them now? Oh, okay. And he's just like, I'm glad you're dead.
Yeah.
And I love that he's just like shout laughing in its face.
Perfect portrayal of the Joker. Perfect. I love that scene so much.
Vale, she's back at the newspaper office. She can't find out anything really about Bruce Wayne. Even though he's the richest guy in the city, no one has anything on him.
Right.
So she decides to tail him like a spy. She follows him to a spot outside this hotel in this alley, and we see Bruce Wayne leave these 2 roses on the sidewalk. We move on to another press conference, this time with gangsters who tell the press that Grissom asked them as a personal favor to handle all of his business until he returns. Vale shows up, Wayne does too, and these mimes start appearing, and they're doing their little, invisible wall and invisible rope shit, and Bob's taking pictures of Knox and Vale, and well, the reporter, or actually Knox asks if these gangsters can prove that Grissom turned over all of his businesses to this mobster guy. And the lawyer's like, oh yeah, if we have witnesses, the signature is totally legitimate. And then we see the Joker, and he's got a top hat on, and his makeup's changed a little bit. And he's, oh yeah, I saw it. I was there. I saw it all. He reached up with his dead hand and signed it in his own blood. And he did it with this pen. He pulls out this quill, this feather pen. And he looks at that guy that the press was talking to. He's like, hello, Vinny. It's your Uncle Bingo. Time to pay the check. And he throws it like a dart into his neck.
I mean, great throw.
Great throw, yeah. Right in the neck. And no blood or anything. And he just spins around. It's like, oh, the pen is truly mightier than the sword. But this whole Uncle Bingo thing and time to pay the check.
Yeah.
I researched this for much longer than I should have, and nobody knows what this means.
Uncle Bingo.
Uncle
Wow.
Bingo.
He shall forever live in infamy. It's Uncle Bingo.
I want to know if this was in the script or if this is just Jack Nicholson making shit up on the spot.
I think it is.
I think it could be, yeah.
Uncle Bingo.
And so the mimes, they pull out machine guns or Tommy guns rather, and they're just blasting it, mostly just kind of warning fire while the Joker gets into his car to take off. And of course, Vicki runs up and he looks at her and looks away, looks back, and then just walks off.
Runs off. What is this? You know what? Shame on you, Bruce Wayne, because you have no respect for women.
So he runs away. The Joker's watching TV, and it's like Harvey Dent's talking about Batman or something. And he's got this little accordion boxing glove that crashes into the TV. And he's kind of bitching to Bob. It's Batman. Batman. Can somebody please tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all my press? And Bob's just looking at him. This town needs an enema. I love that bit. I just
That's
lost.
awesome.
I lose my shit every time he does that, especially the little party thing, the party horn. It's so Bruce Wayne arrives back home. He's talking to Alfred. And Alfred's always telling him, "Oh, Miss Vale telephoned," and he's just like, "Oh, well, I can't think about that right now, Alfred. Jack Napier's still alive. I need you to get what the police have on him." And so they just get to work. And Vale, meanwhile, calls Knox to see what's so special about that place that Bruce Wayne went to. And we can see her apartment. I mean, she's a photographer, for some reputable places. But my goodness, like this is like, it's a sick place. It's a sick place.
High speed, low drag.
Yeah, high speed, low drag. We're back in the Joker's lair, and I've never caught this before until today. We open this shot on this table with these black and white photographs of people. We don't know who they are, but there's a folder with a CIA logo on it. Yeah. And it says classified nerve gas. And so this Smilex gas that he creates later in the movie was based on this CIA nerve gas.
Right.
I never got that before.
That makes sense now.
My mind was totally blown.
Wow.
And so
this movie, it's making our eyes just widen and having light bulbs here and there. Damn, Brandon.
Well, I mean, I've been watching this movie since I was 4 years old, and it's surprising that even up until today, like I'm still learning new things. And so,
but yeah, that really does tie together though. Like, because I didn't even think about that.
Right, because we know that he does have aptitudes, and as we later find out, in chemistry and art.
Right.
And so we thought maybe he was just really clever and thought the shit up, but no, and we don't know like how he acquired this, or we don't know any of that. To me, it's such an extraneous detail. Like, we don't really need to know like, where he got it from.
But it just completes our little nerddeliciousness.
Yes, yeah, nerddeliciousness. And so he's got this little arts and crafts thing going on, kind of scrapbooking style. Bob brings in some photos, and I love this. The first photo he looks at is of Knox.
Yeah.
And the Joker's just like, who is that loss? Like
out of all people.
Yeah, it's like a bad tie, no style. And he's really taken with this photo of Vicki Vale. It's like, stop the press. Who is that? So that's Vicki Vale. She's the photographer who's working with Knox. So that girl has style. Sweet Jesus Marimba. A lovely beast like that running around, put steam in a man's strides. Bob's like, oh, she's dating some guy named Wayne. She's about to trade up. So I'm about to get a new girl, Bobby. I'm of the mind to make some mookie. Mookie, what it make some what?
Well, you know what? I looked this up, Brandon. I looked what mookie is defined of, and it means sexy girl who happens to be of a social misfit. That's what a mookie is.
Mookie. So
it's a noun.
Yeah, so it's a noun. Make some mookie.
Make some mookie.
Sexy girl.
I'm about to make some sexy girl who happens to have a social
sexy
misfit.
Girl. Olaf, metal. Girl thinks sexy.
Girl thinks sexy.
Bazooka.
Yeah, exactly. Bazooka.
And so anyway, so he dances off. So much to do in so little time. And we get a little piece of music here. I didn't know that this was actually not an original piece. I mean, it's an original kind of take on it, but it's a Beautiful Dreamer. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Beautiful Dreamer. Da, da, da,
Bing
da.
Crosby and Al Jolson.
Yeah, they had done a take on that. Crosby and Jolson. A lot of like classical performers like that tends to be in a lot of repertoires that I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was, for undisclosed reasons, involved with the goings on in the music department here for a while, and that I heard a lot of people singing that, and I was like, that sounds really freaking familiar. And then one day I was driving and I just exclaimed, holy shit, it's Beautiful Dreamer from Batman. And so
that is fantastic.
Yeah. And then of course I tell people about it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's in Batman. I'm like, oh, okay. They don't care. They don't give a shit.
All right. You don't understand.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, guys, it's time to give a few special shout-outs to our patrons, Collin, James, Annette, Lewis, Test Pattern, a horror movie podcast, Ryan, Jonathan, and Mando. Thank you all so very much for your support.
You are all the bomb.com.
We love you so very much. And watch your mailboxes in the coming weeks for a special gift package from us here at Vericon Video. If you're not a patron and would like to learn how you can support the show for some cool perks, go to patreon.com/VericonVideo for more information. We have 2 tiers. $2 a month gets you a shout out on the show and a name check in the show notes as long as you remain a patron. And for $4 a month, you can get those perks, plus a monthly bonus episode not available anywhere else, in addition to other exclusive written audio and video content as we create it. So avoid late fees and be kinder on the Rewinder by becoming a patron today. And now, back to the movie. So we're at Axis Chemicals, and since the company was under the control of Grissom, it's now the property of the Joker, and so he's making them manufacture these volatile chemicals. And this action news broadcast starts to explain that these models had died recently, Candy Walker and Amanda Keeler, and we don't know if it was an allergic reaction or something, but of course they got these goofy Joker smiles on their face. The female news anchor turns it over to her male co-host, and it goes on to, 3 mysterious deaths at a beauty parlor today. And she's, ha ha ha.
She starts laughing, and
yeah, she kind of like gets herself under control. And he starts back up at a beauty parlor in Gotham today. And the director's like, Barry, what the hell's going on? And she just like loses it, and she falls out of her chair.
Falls out of a chair, yeah.
So they kill the camera and they go and check her out, and she's got this obnoxious Joker grin, and her eyes are all wide. She's terrifying looking. And we get
it's just so well done.
Then we get this Smilex commercial, and the Joker, he's pushing this cart. It's on a set. He's pushing down this grocery store aisle. His legs are kicking out. He's like, new and improved Joker products with a new secret ingredient, Smilex. And those models that had died, like they're kind of used as mascots or spokespeople for the product. Like their mouths are animated, right?
Right. Yeah, they're moving. They're still, but their lips are moving.
Right. So it's a still image, but it's like somebody's moving mouth has been put over it.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's just like, so it's so funny. It's just like, wow. Right.
Love that Joker. I love the part where he's like, the Joker goes over to this guy and he's like strapped to a table, and he's like, oh, he don't look happy. He's been using brand X.
Yeah.
And there's text.
Emphasis on X.
The text on the screen is flashing, oh no. And it goes over to the guy, and he's got like a suit on, and he's got a smile. Oh, but with new and improved Joker brand, I get a grin again and again. That luscious tan, those ruby lips, and hair color so natural, only your Undertaker knows for sure. So he's just hamming it up. He's having a good time.
Oh my goodness.
And so Bruce Wayne is watching all of this, and he starts reviewing Jack Napier's file. We see that he had a assault with a deadly weapon, age 13, and violent mood swings. He's highly intelligent, very unstable. Aptitudes include chemistry and art. He's, chemistry. Alfred, let's go shopping. And so they take off. And we get some more of these kind of news anchor interruptions. I mean, we really don't need it all that much, but it really just goes to show that people are looking kind of rough, like they're not bathing because they're worried about these beauty and hygiene products causing this reaction. After all this, Alfred listens to the answering machine. It's Vicki Vale. She says, hi, Bruce. I'm going to be 10 minutes late to the museum, but I'll see you when I get there. Bye. Alfred calls him in another part of the house and relays the message. And at first, Bruce is like, oh, okay, fine. Oh, wait a minute, Alfred. I'm not meeting her today. And so she shows up.
Yeah, she still shows up.
She shows up anyway. Oh, we've just seen the Joker. He's putting on his peach makeup again. He tells Alicia, Daddy's going to make some art, darling. And she's got this weird mask on.
Yeah, whatever that is. I don't know. I felt like it was just too overplayed with that mask, but
the whole art thing.
Right.
I mean, he is a very, bombastic, flamboyant. I don't know. It's almost like after he became the Joker, he was able to really blossom, I guess, into the person he wanted to be. Like as this thug gangster in a trench coat and fedora. Like he didn't really exude that kind of flamboyance.
Right. I guess this was like a pre-Harley Quinn-esque before the whole Puddin' came along. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, because she is very, I guess, submissive. Or like she's not, I mean, he squirted acid in her face, and that's why her face is deformed. But yes, she's staying with him. Mm-hmm. And so, I can definitely see that there is that kind of same relationship that he had with Harley Quinn. That because I think in the original comics or I know there's different versions of this, but she was like a doctor or a nurse. Yeah, she was. Yeah,
right?
she was a psychologist. She was a psychologist. Went to go see him, and she basically fell in love with his personality to the point where he threw her in acid. And so when Harley Quinn became Harley Quinn, then the whole Suicide Squad movie did it perfectly with tying her relationship with him into a conflict of trying to find her own identity again to the way she was, because you can see a conflict with her, with Harley Quinn and the Joker, her love for Joker, continuous conflict. And I love Harley Quinn more than any other character in this Batman franchise. I mean, number one, she's gorgeous. Can we all just admit that? But number two, just like how she just always just wanted this family-esque kind of relationship with the Joker that she can never get because he's such a psychotic asshole.
Right. So it just remains a dream, like an unattainable dream, but just that hope alone is what keeps her going or keeps her afloat, keeps her nearby.
Keeps her in the, yeah.
Look at you. Look at you.
Thank you. But anyways.
So back to the movie. We're at the museum. So Vale arrives and she is waiting at this little, I guess, this little restaurant there in the museum lobby. Mm-hmm. Time passes. Bruce hasn't shown up. And so she receives a present. It's this little package with a purple and green bow on top with this little card that looked like a 3-year-old wrote urgent.
Yes.
And she opens it and it's this little gas mask. And there's a note that says, put it on now. And then all of the vents start dispersing this gas. And everybody just starts passing out, falling over and falling downstairs and into their faces are landing in plates of spaghetti and stuff. And so she's got that stuck right on her face and she's watching all of this unfold, all these people dying. And then the door is open and surveying the dead are the Joker and his gang, his merry men. And he looks delighted. He's got this wonderful hat. I don't even know what you call it, but he's got this great silk hat on and he's just smiling. Of course, he can't stop smiling, but he said, gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence, and this big guy, Lawrence, pushes play on this boombox and we get this great Prince song. The first one,
I have to admit, I was jamming a little bit.
I was jamming too. I was actually listening to this in the car yesterday when I was on my way back to North Carolina. And I was like,
yes,
I was creating quite a show for the other passersby on the interstate. Party Man is playing, and the Joker and his gang decide to redecorate a little bit. to contribute to some of the artworks there in the gallery, and throwing paint here and there and defacing really popular works of art. The Joker makes his way over to Vicki Vale, sits down with her, and starts looking over her portfolio. We don't know why she brought her portfolio.
Maybe to show Bruce, like, this is why you need to love me, I guess.
Yeah. It could have been more of a business thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, you said you wanted to come shoot my house, so let me look at your portfolio.
Oh, yeah. Right?
He's looking at it and he's crap. Ah. And it's just this like open grave.
This is some real art.
Yeah. That's good work. Skulls. The bodies, you give it all such a glow. I don't know if it's art, but I like it. and so he gets this long speech and everything, but it essentially boils down to, you will take pictures and record my work, and you will join me in the avant-garde of a new aesthetic. And that he's the first fully functioning homicidal artist. He brings Alicia over and he's like, oh, show the lady why you wear a mask. So she takes it off and he tells Vicki that she is a living work of art. And of course her face is, all messed up and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so she backs away and he's like, oh, do you like it? Oh yeah, it's great. It's great. So, I mean, finally we get to, well, what do you want?
Right.
So, a little song, a little dance, Batman's head on a lance. And so he wants to know what she knows about Batman. And then, oh, well, how about a little you and me? And so he starts creeping in on her. She's like, oh, you're insane. I thought I was a Pisces.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And so he gets a shot off of his posy, this little flower on his chest. He squeezes it and it squirts acid and it misses her, luckily. And she, for some reason, decides the only thing to defend herself with is this pitcher of water that she throws in his face. She couldn't.
Shout out to the Wizard of Oz.
Right? Yes. I'm melting. Gasp. And she's comforting him.
Yeah. Like,
while he's,
come on.
Yeah. While he's in apparent agony, she's patting him on the shoulder and stuff. He spins around. Boo! And his face is half peach, half white. I love that look.
That's a good look. Yeah, for sure. And I also want to point out how Vale's, she has makeup on. Mm-hmm. And she has makeup on, yet the entire damn city of Gotham has urged people not to wear beauty products. So,
look at you, man.
I try.
You've got that discerning eye roaming all over the place.
Hey, it's all part of the job.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was like, why is she wearing lipstick?
Because I think even the people that were dining there were all like dolled up and stuff, and
they were dolled up,
and they're the nicest. And
Gotham's like no beauty products.
No beauty products.
It's sketchy.
Plot holes everywhere, man.
Goodness gracious,
they're everywhere. So Batman drops from the skylight. Very dramatic entry.
5 minutes later, we get into action.
And I was like, what is he waiting for? He must have been there just watching, waiting for the right. I don't know. Maybe he's got stage fright. Maybe he's just a little nervous and has to work himself up to it.
Yeah. He has to like psych himself up.
Yeah.
Be like, I'm about to punch some people,
No, it's going to be okay. I really don't like height. It's going to be okay. Let's go. I got the zip line.
What if my cape like gets snagged on something or the logo doesn't show itself?
I can totally see that.
What if Vale finds out who I am? Oh no, I don't want this.
I totally buy that. So he just shows up. He doesn't immediately fight anybody.
No.
I don't understand this. He just is worried about, I guess, getting her to safety. And so he he's got this little zip line gun on his hand. And
he shows it right to the Joker's face, too. He's like,
like, look at this. This is cool. And so they swing on out of there and they make their escape. And the Joker is amused. He's like, where does he get those wonderful toys?
And that's that. Yeah.
So they take off and they get into the Batmobile with great fanfare. They give chase. And let's talk about this car for a minute, since we talked a little bit about cars in our RoboCop episode. The Batmobile itself was built on the chassis of a Chevy Impala and incorporated the engine of an Impala, the taillights of a Ferrari, the fuel caps of a London bus, and jet engine parts from a Harrier jump jet. And
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And even the sliding cockpit was inspired by like the Harrier jet. And the art director, Terry Ackland Snow, actually said that he had added headlights of a Honda Civic to the vehicle after noticing them on his wife's car.
I mean, hey, whatever inspires you, right?
Exactly. It's like, oh, honey, I like those headlights. Can I use those on the Batmobile?
We made a good purchase, honey. Damn.
Getting our mileage out of this car.
Yeah.
So there's car chases, and the Batmobile is unable to go any further. There's a bulldozer in the way, so they have to get out. And then as Vicki Vale gets out, she's got to throw her shoes away. So she could run. I don't know why she's always wearing these freaking shoes, because she's always having to throw them away.
Good Lord.
Again. And so as they're running away, Batman says into this little remote, shields, and then the car, the shields and armored plates appear around the vehicle. They are pursued on foot by the Joker's men, and they duck into an alley. And I love this. Batman asks her, how much do you weigh?
Okay.
108, I think. No, you're like 6 foot tall.
Yeah, give me a break. And he didn't ask her this when he grappled himself in the museum. Yes, good point. And now I'm like, dude, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, now it matters?
Now it matters, yeah.
So he uses his little grappling gun. The grapple attaches to this like catwalk way high up, and he attaches it to his belt. He grabs her, and they're lifted into the air. And then when they get to the top, he says, see that thing on my belt? Grab it. Whatever you do, don't let go. And he falls and he's got this piercing scream. And so she's able to rise to safety and climb over the catwalk. But Batman, he falls down. He falls to the earth, and the Joker's goons catch him. They shoot him. And so they're like checking him out. Like they're looking at his outfit. And it's like, who is this guy? And Bob's like, check his wallet.
Yeah.
And they notice that he's wearing body armor and that he's human, which I don't know why they didn't think that before.
He must be extraterrestrial.
Yeah. He's from Naboo.
Yeah.
Bob says, take off the mask. And they very slowly are pulling it off of his face. And Vicky's trying to get she's got her camera, and she's trying to get a snapshot of it. And the camera flash gives it away. And so it's like, shoot her. Batman gets to his feet. There's a fight. Camera flashes. Vicki Vale's taking pictures. Mm-hmm. Then there's a sword guy, does all these flips and shit. And he's got all these fancy moves. Batman just kicks him in the face and knocks him out. I mean, this is straight up a ripoff of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like in that scene where like there's that swordsman, he's showing off and he's about to fight Indiana Jones. Yeah, he just pulls the gun out and shoots him. And that's it. It's over. So the shield's open on the Batmobile. It drives itself to them. They get into the vehicle and take off towards the Batcave. Another great piece of music here is called Descent into Mystery. Really nice choir work here.
Yes.
And so they arrive at the Batcave. There are bats there, of course. There is this control center that he takes her to, and he's explaining that the police have got it wrong, that it's not just one product that's tainted, it's multiple products, but they have to be used together in order to create this effect and kill you.
Right.
So it's kind of like an epoxy or something. Like all these parts have to work together to produce this effect. He says, it could be, hairspray won't do it alone, but hairspray mixed with lipstick and perfume becomes toxic. She's like, oh, well, why do you need me for? You could have taken all this stuff to the press yourself. He's like, oh, you're right. But there's something else you have that I want.
Ooh.
And then it cuts to black, and I'm thinking, like, watching it now, like if I saw this for the first time, I was thinking she got raped and murdered.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's just something about that cutaway. It's just a shot of bats flying and this really swelling music.
First time the Batman franchise, it's rated R.
But we assume that nothing terrible happened to her. She does wake up in bed.
Right, true. With her clothes on.
With her clothes on and laying sideways on the bed. You think that he would have, at least tucked her in or something, not just throw her on there. But she wakes up and discovers that the film that she had has been taken. Knox calls to check up on her. And when she says it's hot, like as a kid, I always thought she was talking about the temperature.
That's what it seems like. You know, she's got a hot story. Like, oh, it's burning. It's burning my hands.
well, it's like she says, "Can we make the evening edition if I get you the story?" And he's like, "Just barely. Is it hot?" "Oh yeah, yeah, it's real hot." I'm thinking, "Oh man, she's burning up in her apartment right now."
I'm sweating.
She's exasperated.
Oh man,
yeah. So she's got that hot story. And so it shows up in the newspapers, and it explains to the Gothamites to avoid these product combinations. And even on the news, they're talking about Batman. Is he a friend? Is he a foe? And the Joker is watching it on TV, and he just blows it away with this shotgun pistol that he has, this double-barrel shotgun pistol, which is really impressive. Alfred's talking to Bruce. He says, "Oh, Vale called again." And he's just like, whatever. I don't know. I mean, he's just really scared about it. I don't know. But he's like, "Hey, you should try telling her the truth." And he kind of looks like, "Oh, well, I guess I could do that."
I guess so.
I guess. So he goes over to Vale's apartment with a flower or some flowers and tries to explain and apologize. She's annoyed. She says, "You hurt
as fuck."
She's like, "You hurt me. And I really thought we had something, and we had dinner and I had a great time, and I even slept with you. I can't believe I did that." But I didn't know you were going to turn out to be some kind of jerk. He like pushes her down into a chair, and he's like, "Listen, you're a really nice girl and I like you a lot, but for right now, shut up." "I got something to tell you." And so he's going in a very roundabout way, trying to explain metaphorically that he lives two different lives. And she doesn't get it. And she's just like, "Oh my God, you're married." It's like, "No, I'm not married."
Get it right.
It's like, how a normal person like wakes up and goes downstairs and eats breakfast and goes to a job, and
No.
And so he's trying, but it's not coming out. And so anyway, the doorbell rings. So she leaves him. It's the Joker and his crew. They burst in. Lawrence has his boombox. It's playing pretty music. And Bruce Wayne, he's going for this metal tray. We don't really know why. The Joker is telling Vicki that we were just getting to know each other. And without as much as an apology, you ran off with that sideshow phony. He's like, "Oh, Vic, I recently had a tragedy in my life. Alicia threw herself out the window." And he shows her the mask, and it's cracked and everything. And said, "But you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs." And he smashes it, and she screams. He's just giggly. And he notices Bruce Wayne is there. Another rooster in the hen house. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, you're Bruce Wayne." And he's like, "Most of the time." Bob's about to shoot him. Joker's like, "Yeah, put that away." And Bruce Wayne is doing this little thing where he's "Oh, I know who you are, and let me tell you about this guy I know, Jack." And he's describing Jack being really crazy and stuff. And but he's backing up. He's going towards the fireplace. He's going for the fire poker. It's like, "Oh, you want to know what happened to this guy, Jack? He made mistakes, and then he had his lights out. And he smashes something. It's like, "Oh, he had his lights on. You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts."
I love how he's breaking her things.
In that moment, he kind of gets a little Beetlejuice thing going on. That, "Come on."
Right.
"Let's get nuts." It's like expecting to, hey, you come here. I got something good for you. So the Joker pulls out this little pistol and says, "If you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight," and then you just see the click in Bruce's mind. He's like, "What?" He's like, "I always ask that of all my prey. I just like the sound of it." And shoots him.
Right.
But now, he has shot people before. He shot Eckhart. He didn't say that.
No.
He didn't say.
Oh, he didn't say that. No.
Yeah. He just did that think about the future thing. He asked that of all of his prey. No, that's not true. Moving right along, we're following the sun on out of here. So he shoots Bruce. They leave. They left a package there with his hand like popped out like a Jack in the Box with holding these dead roses.
Just drops.
Yeah, like a ton of bricks. And so we learn that Bruce Wayne's parents were murdered in that alley where Vale followed him. Bruce Wayne himself all of a sudden wants to file on his parents, and he's looking that over. And on TV, there's a press conference going on. The mayor says that the anniversary birthday gala has been postponed. We just can't guarantee public safety. And then the Joker shows up in his peach makeup and dark hair, and he's sitting by doing this fireside chat kind of things. Joker here. Now, you people have said some pretty mean things, some of which were true.
How do you feel about the Joker's makeup, no makeup? Would you rather have him with the makeup, or would you rather see him without the makeup?
To me, he's a little creepier with the makeup on.
Right.
Just, that unnerving smile. It's different when he's got the pale face and the green hair. It's different. They're creepy in different ways. It's just that unnatural smile, that prosthesis that Nicholson is wearing. That
right. Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I mean, I've never seen the Joker without the white face.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it definitely brings out an unnerving kind of atmosphere.
So remember, in The Dark Knight, there is that tiny moment where you see the Joker in a police uniform.
Oh, right. He's about to assassinate the mayor. Right.
Yeah. But you see it. Yeah, you see him like he's got the scars and stuff, but he's not wearing his
without the makeup. Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
And
I totally forgot about that
Yeah,
scene.
but that in itself is pretty
scary. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the white face kind of softens it a little bit.
True.
Nicholson's Joker tells the Gothamites that the festival is on and we're going to be dumping $20 million in cash at midnight. And Batman, if you're listening, let's duke it out, you and me. Bruce Wayne freeze frames it, and he has this little flashback of him as a boy leaving the theater with his parents. They are soon followed by two men, and his parents are murdered in front of them. The gunman is a young Jack Napier, stepping out of the shadows, saying, "Tell me, kid, you ever danced with the devil by the pale moonlight?" His partner or whatever is like, "Hey, let's go, let's go, Jack." And so he doesn't get to shoot the kid. He's just, let's just see you around. See you around, kid. Yeah.
Good.
And he looks back at the still shot of Napier or the Joker on the screen and putting that together finally that's him. And he spins around and Alfred has let Vicki Vale into the Batcave. And she's not even surprised.
She's not phased. She's not phased at all. Nothing.
I mean, he's a little alarmed by it, but he's still kind of, I don't know, he's kind of mopey in this scene.
Yes. Mopey is a very good word for it.
Because he stands up and turns around from her. And almost,
Oh, it's you.
Yeah. And she's doing all this. We both felt something and got to each other, didn't we? Blah, blah, blah. Why won't you let me in? Why? It's just this very melodramatic moment. Yeah, very soppy. And he says something like, "I'd like to, but he's out there right now and I've got to go to work."
What a guy.
So he suits up. Next thing we see the Batmobile driving into Axis Chemicals. All of the Joker's men are there and they're all shooting at the Batmobile. Of course, it does nothing. And then the car finally stops with its shields on. It drops this little bomb.
Yeah.
And this is a great shot because this little arm comes out of the Batmobile and drops it. And it just ding, ding, ding. And you can hear it hitting the ground and rolling around. And we get this
wide view.
Yeah, the wide view of the Axis Chemical plant. And it just blows to hell. The whole place goes up.
So good.
This one little bomb just took everything out. It's speeding away. It's trying to get out. The Batmobile is. Once it finally gets out, it parks like right in front of Batman. So he didn't have to do all the dirty work himself.
Right.
Above is the Joker in his Joker copter. And he's got his little bullhorn and he's taunting him and giving him a little wave. And then he moves on to his parade. So he's on this parade. Got another Prince song going on. Trust.
That's a good song. Jam into this too. Like,
oh, yeah, that's great.
I would like to point out a couple of goof moments here, though. I actually didn't know this, and I just looked it up on IMDb afterwards.
Uh-huh.
So when the Joker is throwing the parade, the float that the Joker stands on passes the same building marked Delicatessen twice. Yeah.
I've never noticed that.
Just a little subtle detail. And then during the parade as well, when they're throwing the money, it gets caught on his throne.
Uh-huh.
And so when he tells his goons to put their masks on, it's vanished, but then reappears when the Joker pulls out the remote control.
Oh, okay. So it's one of those things where like they did multiple takes and then in the intercutting, just the little things in continuity, that makes it difficult to keep track of.
Exactly.
So they're tossing out cash to the masses from garbage bags, and the Joker is hamming it up. He is having a blast. He is dancing all over this place. Knox and Vale show up. The Batwing, we see, is on the way. Batman is in tow. It's telling audiences, this is going to be a toy. You've got to buy this when it comes out. And so the Prince song ends. The Joker grabs this old microphone. And now, folks, it's time for Who Do You Trust? Hubba, hubba, hubba. Money, money, money. Who can you trust? Me? I'm giving away free money. And where is the Batman? He's at home washing his tights. And everybody's laughing, so he thinks he's won everybody over. But then he looks up and he sees, oh yeah, Batman's on his way. You can see the Batwing, but he's ready. So he tells everybody to put on their masks. So they're doing that. And I love this bit here when he pulls out this remote that's bright orange and green. And he pulls out this telescoping antenna. It's like, and now comes the part where I relieve you little people of the burden of your failed and useless lives. But as my plastic surgeon always said, if you gotta go with a smile.
I love that line.
It's great. And he puts his own little gas mask on and hits a button, and all these big parade balloons start emitting this Smilex gas. That little remote control, that was another thing that I saw in the Planet Hollywood in Nashville.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I've got pictures of all that somewhere. It's the same with the stuff from A Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors. Yeah, that's something I've got to track down. But massive crowds of people are falling down in pain and gasping. And Knox and Vicki Vale, they see it. They see the gas coming out, and they're trying to warn people. Vale takes refuge in the car. Knox goes to the trunk to retrieve this baseball bat. And he opens it by karate chopping it.
It's like whoopsh.
That's all right. Okay. And so he's trying to fight off the Joker goons, hitching a ride on these balloons. And there's a moment where this guy lunges at Vale in the car. Do you remember this? He's like this, and she screams. He's blonde with a black leather jacket. His eyes are bulging. That guy is the most terrifying thing in this movie. Yeah, I don't know, staying in the car is going to really help you all that much.
Yeah, I don't know what she was trying to accomplish. Yeah. I mean, oh well.
I really like the design of these balloons.
Yes,
they're very cool. You've got the clown and the jester thing, and then this crying baby with one tooth.
That was so funny.
Really great designs. But the Batwing swoops in as this is happening. Vale and Knox, their car crashes. Knox is knocked out. The Batwing snags the balloons and carries them high over the city and releases them. And the Joker is pissed. He's like, "My balloons! He stole my balloons!"
He's like, "What? Did that just happen?"
He stole my balloons! Why didn't somebody tell me he had one of those things? Bob, gun. Bob hands him a gun. He just shoots Bob, right?
Shoots Bob. Poor Bob. Bob's come all this way.
I know. I really hated he was that expendable. The goons chase everybody out of the streets. The Batwing is closing in on the Joker, who's standing right in the middle of the street, and he's taunting him. Like I said, come on, you gruesome son of a bitch, come to me. And the Batman locks in on him, like bullseye, right at his face. Shoots all these missiles and stuff, and misses him. I don't understand why this happened.
There's one shot from that stupid ass gun, and yet Batman in his nice Batwing that's been shown off for the past 15 minutes of this scene gets shot down by one shot. References to The Dark Knight, where Heath Ledger is walking in the middle of the road and Batman's going full force at him in his bike. He's like, come on. I know you got it in you. Come on, and then Christian Bale just runs to the left and just crashes himself into the bus. I'm like, dude.
I remember that not making sense either.
Right.
I don't know how to make sense of that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're not going to try because this movie defies all logic.
I mean, I guess it's Batman not trying to kill somebody, I guess.
Well, I thought that at first, but then later on he tells the Joker, I'm going to kill you.
Right.
Like in the cathedral.
Right. Yeah, true.
So
true.
I don't know if it was some kind of jamming device that the Joker had to prevent him from being shot at directly. I don't know. He misses, and the Joker takes it down with this massive telescoping revolver he pulls out of his trousers, takes down the Batwing, it crashes. I love the blowback, like the recoil on that pistol.
Yeah, that was nice.
It's like an anti-aircraft fire. Vicki Vale, she goes up to the Batwing crash, and she's trying to find Batman, and she can't. She believes him to be dead, as does the Joker, and he holds her at gunpoint, and he radios his gang to meet him on the roof of the cathedral in the helicopter, and thus began their ascent. But Batman is not dead. He's not that far behind, going up these never-ending stairs of this cathedral. As much as I love this movie, this part really drags for me.
Like hashtag Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah. I mean, maybe this is a Burton thing, like where we would just put in our notes stunts to remember, 10 minutes of an action scene.
I mean, even in our episode of Sleepy Hollow, we mentioned this movie.
With
ascending up the stairs there.
That's right. Yeah, in the windmill.
The windmill, right?
Yeah. And so as they're ascending the stairs, Vale loses a shoe for the third time. The Joker kisses it and throws it down several flights to Batman for no reason. Just like, oh, come and get her, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, why can't she keep her damn shoes on?
I don't know. God, I've never seen this before.
Sure, she's thrust into all of these action-packed scenarios, and she's wearing heels.
She should, but when you learn not to wear heels,
exactly. If you're getting tangled up with Batman, you need to switch to something with laces.
Just wear some damn All-Stars. Just Converse. Just go Converse.
Right. You won't lose those off your foot if you tried.
No.
The police are rolling in. They're trying to get into the cathedral. Gordon is there leading the charge, but the Joker thinks wise and uses his little posy flower acid spitter and squirts some on this big bell in the bell tower part of the cathedral, and it falls.
How many stories?
50, 100 stories. We don't know because the thing is massive. It's the biggest building on the planet Earth, really.
Basically.
Yeah, and so it blocks the entrance. But Batman eventually makes it to the top. He confronts. So instead of writing stunts like I did in Sleepy Hollow, in my notes I have Batman confronts a flipping guy and strong guy. Because there is this one guy that just does these forward somersault flips or whatever.
At least 10 flips.
Batman just kind of punches him in the face and he's out. And then the music starts up and we see Vale and Joker. They're dancing a waltz as Batman is fighting off these goons, especially this one really big, burly, strong guy that he just can't seem to take out, who he kills by throwing him into the bell tower.
And it just felt like forever. The waltz, then you got Batman over here struggling.
I'm looking right now at how long that waltz is. 3 minutes and 56 seconds.
Wow.
But that's long for that entire scene.
Wow.
But that also includes the part where the Joker puts the gun to his head and pulls the trigger, and she screams, and it's just that little flag that says bang. It's like, and tosses it away.
You thought.
And he's doing that. Oh, we were made for each other. Beauty and the Beast.
Wait, it's like he says that or hints that he's Beauty and she's the Beast.
Yeah. But if anybody else called you a beast, I'd rip their lungs out.
Right.
And then she sees Batman behind him, and so she's trying to, I guess, distract him.
Yeah.
But it's weird. She's like,
it's
oh, Mr. Joker. Oh, purple. I love purple. She's like kissing on his shoulder, and his mouth is open. He just I don't know if he's enjoying it or if he just doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Because she goes down on him.
Yeah, that's right. She is, it looks like she's going down on him. And but then Batman says, "Excuse me, you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?" And it's not in his Batman voice.
Right.
It's in his normal Bruce Wayne voice. And he punches him. This is one of those things that I misheard as a kid, or up until today. The Joker says, "You idiot, you made me. Remember, you dropped me into that vat of chemicals. That wasn't easy to get over. And don't think that I didn't try." But he says, "You made me. Remember?"
Right.
Saying, "You made me." Like, don't you remember? It's not like, "You made me remember. You dropped me into that vat of chemicals." You see what I mean?
Right. It's
so
very...
The emphasis was, I didn't know how to interpret it. So anyway, so he says, "You made me. You dropped me into that vat of chemicals. So I am the product of your doing." That's what he's saying. But then Batman's like, "Well, you killed my parents. I made you. You made me first. I was a kid when I killed your parents. How childish can you get?" He puts on these glasses. Oh, you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses on, would you? Huh? And so the Joker goes off the roof, and Batman and Vicki, they're looking over the rail, and the Joker just pulls them over the side. It's kind of a creepy moment.
Yeah.
And so they're hanging off the 100-story building, and the Joker is making jokes at this gargoyle that he's standing next to. What are you laughing at? That cathedral, like in the wide shot, it is massive.
That's a ways down.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, let me give you a hand." And of course, it's a fake hand, and Vicki almost falls. He's, "Lend your hand." He's just so amused with himself. And so he starts dancing on the roof. Like he's just really starting to lose it and crack up. He's, "Oh, they don't make them like they used to." And he starts kicking the bricks out. They're losing their grip. And the Joker copter is flying in to drop down a ladder to him. But Batman, like as the Joker gets onto the ladder, Batman shoots this little bolo gadget, and it ties the Joker's leg to that massive gargoyle. And so as he's coming off of it, the gargoyle falls, but it's tied to his leg. So it's pulling him down. Can't hang on to the ladder. And he eventually falls to his death. He should be a pulp, like just a greasy spot on the street.
But he's still intact.
He's still intact, perfectly intact. Just a little trail of blood there. Mm-hmm. So after he falls, Batman and Vicki Vale fall. But in the nick of time, they're saved by the grappling gun, and they are suspended in midair about halfway down, and they're just swinging back and forth, and the police spotlights are kind of roaming across them and the building. It's kind of this quasi
romantic.
Yeah, it's so quasi-romantic. And so the Joker is dead. And as they're examining his body, there's this
It's kind of creepy.
It is really creepy. And Gordon just looks in his pocket and he finds this little tape recorder in a pouch. It's like it is the last laugh.
Basically.
So Gordon holds a press conference here at the end. He says that the Joker's men have all been captured. Vale and Knox talk a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, where are you going?" She says, "Take care, Allie." Like, where's she going? Because he's like, "What about Batman?" and all that. And she's like, "Oh, bye." So, and Dent gets on the microphone and says, "We received a letter from Batman this morning, essentially saying, if you need help again, call me. Use this bat signal." And so they power it on to show it off. And it's a really impressive shot high above the Gotham skyline, after which Alfred picks up Vicki Vale, and he's got champagne waiting for her in the car. And he says that Master Wayne said that he might be a little late. And she's just like, I'm not a bit surprised.
Yeah, after he's deuced you for the entire movie.
I don't like that line. I think it's a little cheesy, but I love the way the movie ends. It's epic, epic music as we're panning up over the buildings of the Gotham skyline, and Batman is on the roof, his cape fluttering in the wind, and he's looking towards the bat signal in the sky, and
it's beautiful.
The music ties it together so well.
It's absolutely beautiful.
It is.
What are your thoughts?
This is one of my top 3 movies of all time. And it has my favorite score of all time. I mean, I'm nostalgic for it, of course, but I think it really holds up. I think it's a very well edited film with a very impressive aesthetic. So like the look of the characters and the city, the buildings, the cars, everything, the world building that they do through the production design is what really, really sells me. So all of those things kind of work together. I imagine I'll be on my deathbed and it will still be in my top 3 favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. Batman is Batman. There's no way around it. It's right up there with Star Wars for me, and I can't ever replace it with anything else. And it's just a great world. It's a great universe with Gotham and the storyline behind it with Batman and the Joker. And you just can't get anything better than that, especially with cinema and film. When you create a Batman movie, it has to be epic. You can't settle for anything less.
Right.
And they did a wonderful job.
Right. And you got to remember, this was coming out at a time like where action movies were Stallone, Schwarzenegger. This kind of redefined what an action movie could be. And one of the first like superhero movies to really do justice to the source material, I think.
Right. And
get back to that grittiness and the darkness in the comics. Well, that's Batman, everybody. So any particular shout outs you want to give out, Joseph?
Yeah. As part of Joe's shout outs, I'd like to give you guys a go ahead and checking out the Laugh It Up Fuzzball with Joe Riot, also known as The Wookiee. What a guy. Joe talks about all things geek and geek news, geek comics, and just the whole damn geek universe. Simpsons, Star Wars, etc. You name it. Be sure to listen to his latest episode. I really love this title. Check out the mouth on this one. It's about early reviews on the Shazam film opening. Should be pretty cool, guys. Ben Affleck is actually directing a DC superhero movie. So Joe's talking about that, as well as the new Aladdin trailer. So check him out. And with our horror film nerds out there, shout out to Nightmare on Film Street Horror Movie Podcast with Jonathan DeHaan and Kimberly Elizabeth. They really do live up to our horror genre expectations and weekly head-to-head movie death matches. Go check out their latest episode, Killer Thrillers, Saw vs. 7, where they compare both iconic pieces of cinema. Keep up the nerdaliciousness, you two.
Very nice. And I want to mention, too, check out these podcasts' particular take on this movie, Batman 1989. A really great episode from We Hate Movies and Hey, Do You Remember? Hey, Do You Remember's episode is amazing. And Chris, one of the co-hosts, is a huge fan of this movie and Batman in general. I strongly recommend listening to their episode on that, and also a supplemental episode called The Road to Gotham, where Chris talks about how Batman got him through a lot of hard times. It gets dark about halfway through, so grab some tissue, but it's probably my favorite podcast episode ever.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, you must check it out, but be prepared.
And now, coming soon to video cassette.
Next time, I'm not sure which of these is going to come out first. It's either going to be Meet Joe Black, a 1998 drama starring Anthony Hopkins and Brad Pitt, or it very well could be our crossover with Random Movie Roulette, which is coming very, very soon. So stay tuned for more information on that, and we will announce what those movies are on our social media. So be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Veracon Video. And be sure to rate and review the show on iTunes. And if you have questions or suggestions or just want to tell us what you think of the show, drop us an email at veraconvideo@gmail.com or call us up on the Veracon Video hotline at 312-620-5560. We truly hope you enjoyed today's show, and we will see you again next time to chat about another exciting movie or movies from the rental era. So long, everybody.
Peace out, guys.
Goodbye, Vietnam! That's right. I'm history. I'm out of here. I got the lucky ticket home, baby.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Jenny.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle. Bye-bye.
Do take good care of yourself.
What is this, your farewell speech? Going home. Have a good trip.
Hasta la vista, baby.
I have to go.
Adieu, auf Wiedersehen, Gesundheit.
Stay away.